wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'du. Thank you very much for participants, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Prof. Rui Andong from National Tsinghua University, Prof. Wan Chun Oh from Hansei University Korea, Dr. Kiki Adi Kurnia from Universitas Erlangga, the lecturer of Chemistry Department, Universitas Islam Indonesia, participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is our pleasure to have you in this online workshop and clinic for writing scientific articles. This is the 10th webinar in the scheme of world-class professor program funded by the Ministry of National Education and also supported by International Office of Universitas Islam Indonesia by the Global Engagement Grant. This agenda is very important for us, I think, because the Chemistry Department, Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, Universitas Islam Indonesia, always support for all lecturers, students, and academicians in Indonesia and all around the world to have the contribution to science by the scientific writing. And for this purpose, we collaborate with the Journal of Korean Journal of Material Sciences and also Journal Exacta, Journal of Sciences and Data Analysis from Faculty of Mathematics, Universitas Islam Indonesia to conduct this online clinic for scientific writing. And as part of world-class professor program, it is our pleasure to have Prof. Rui Andong as the mentor of the agenda. So let me share the agenda for today. Okay, before we start, it is important to all our participants. It is kindly requested to all participants to rename the Zoom account with your name _ institution for us to issue catch your profile and switch off your microphone during the session unless the moderator or host asks you during the discussion session. And as you can replace your virtual background, please use the virtual background of this event. So after the speaking from Prof. Rui, we will have the photo session. And if you have a question, please write in the chat, which will be open around 15 minutes before the speaker finish the session. And in case you have trouble in signing this Zoom meeting, you can also broadcast this meeting via the YouTube channel of Jurusan Kimia FMIPA UII. Jurusan Kimia FMIPA UII. Okay, so as a part of world-class professor, we have the visiting professor in our department, Prof. Rui Andong. So please, Prof. Rui, give a welcoming remark to all participants. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you for your nice introductions, Professor Fatima. Good morning, everyone, especially our distinguished guests, Professor Wong Chio-ong and Professor Kiki Adis Krinas. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rui Andong, Dean of the Tsinghua International College and Chair Professors of the Tsinghua University. First of all, I would like to thank UII and Chairperson Fatima for her invitation. It is also my pleasure to have this opportunity to give some words to all of you as the opening remarks. On behalf of the world-class professor of UII, I cordially welcome you to attend this meaningful webinar series, which is well organized by the Department of Chemistry, UII. Actually, this online symposium is part of the world-class professor program and global engagements that's grants from UII, supported by Ministry of the National Education Indonesia. UII actually has holds several webinar series in the area of the materials for energy and environment. They got quite a good response. Names a lot of people learn a lot here. In addition to materials of the energy and environment, UII also organized some symposium related to organic chemistry, natural pharmaceutical products. A total of more than 1,000 persons has attended this series. I'm lucky to attend the most conference during this webinar series. So my personal experience is that this webinars provides very fundamental as well as a cutting-edge knowledge to everyone. I really enjoy the atmosphere and contents of this online conference. In addition to this specialized subjects, to reinforce the research activity, UII also invites the several world-renowned professors to introduce theirs and share their experience, how to do the research and how to write the paper. It is very important for all the researchers, even something like me. Today, Professor Ismail Habs cooperate with Korean Journal of the Material Research and has invited Professor Wong Cho-ong and Professor Kiki Adi Krinas to share their experience on how to write the scientific paper. They also provide a time slot for paper clinic. Actually, it is very important because when you write the paper, you have no ideas where needs to emphasize, where to be revised. And through this paper clinics symposium, you will learn a lot. So that's I would like us to encourage you all, if you have something needs to have the face-to-face of the learn some more related to writing paper. This is the good opportunities. Yeah, okay. That's the but not the least. These webinars actually can help us to establish the cross-academic cooperation between AII and international societies, especially today there's not a lot of world-class professors in the world. That will be good for us. If you would like us to do the research, you can learn a lot from them. You also can establish the cross cooperation relationship with them. That will be good. Okay. Definitely, I believe that this conference will be very successful. And I do believe everyone can enjoy the atmospheres of this conference provided by UII, especially from the departments of chemistry. I also believe all of you will have the great times during the conference and learning something special. Okay, thank you and enjoy the webinars. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Rui, for your nice opening. So ladies and gentlemen, before we start the main agenda, it is our time to have the photo session. So please, for all participants, open your video so the administrator can catch your photos for our documentation. Mas Damar.
Jifu.
Okay, is it ready, Mas Damar?
Ready.
Okay. Okay, give your smile for the first screen. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the next screen. 1, 2, 3. The third screen. 1, 2, 3. The last screen. The fourth. 1, 2, 3. Is it enough, Mas Damar?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So we about start our main agenda, which is the workshop for writing scientific article. And for this agenda, we will have Dr. Maisari Utami, lecturer of Chemistry Department, Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, as the moderator for this event. So, Dr. Maisari, please, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Fatima, for the opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's workshop and clinic of writing scientific article organized by Department of Chemistry, Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, Universitas Islam Indonesia. It is my pleasure to be a moderator for this workshop. Before we start the discussion session, I'd like to remind the participant if you have any question regarding our two guest speakers' presentation, please be sure to type your name and institution followed by the question in the chat box. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to welcome to you our first speaker. And firstly, may I briefly introduce him. I'll share the screen. Our first speaker is Professor Won Chun Oh. Professor Won Chun Oh is a full professor in the Department of Advanced Materials and Engineering at Hanseo University in Korea and School of Materials Science and Engineering at Anhui University of Science and Technology in China. At present, he serves as the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Multifunctional Materials and Photosciences, an Asian Journal of Materials Chemistry, and also he is now as the advisory broad member of the Asian Journal of Chemistry. And then he obtained the Research Front Award from Korean Carbon Society and obtained the Yangsong Award from Korea Ceramic Society. And also he got the Excellent Paper Award from Korea Journal of Material Research and the Best Paper Award from Journal of Industrial and Engineering Chemistry for his pioneering work. Also, he got the Award of Appreciation from ICMMA 2011, 2014, and 2019. He also appointed as one of the top 100 scientists in the world at IBC UK. Some of his current research fields are nanostructured materials such as metal and nanocomposite, graphene materials, and metal nanoparticles, and their catalytic application for future energy sources and green chemical technologies. Professor Oh, please present your topic in 60 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready, Prof?
First time. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Maisari. This very kind introduction for me. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for your invitation, Professor Fatima. Okay, it's my pleasure to the speech in here. First time. Is it okay?
Okay, Prof.
Okay. Today, main topic is advanced graphene study and its simple application. In this day, in our laboratory, we mainly study about this kind of a field, maybe from the simple traditional material to nano material. So as you know, this first from this first item, so you can find this carbon or porous material. But this one is the one kind of traditional materials. But in this day, this is one of advanced materials because they have something energy storage effect. So we mainly use this kind of material to preparation of lithium-ion battery or capacitor and EDLC. And the second one is this one is also related to the environmental carbon for the preparation of sensitive solar cell or chemical sensor or supercapacitor. And also next one is for the application of this kind of materials, we mainly use the this kind of material to the hydrogen storage or hydrogen production, and sometimes some kind of gaseous materials reduction. And also, basic precursor material is graphite or graphene or fluorine, CNT, and any other composite material. But in this day, we mainly study about this kind of environmental field application or bio application or medicinal application. And finally, in this day, our department is mainly related to the this aircraft and aeronautic and aerospace. So in this day, we also study about this aircraft related carbon and composite material. This is our group member. So from as I describe in here, so maybe you can find our research field somewhat detailedly. The first one is the thermal properties with this kind of nanomaterial or composite material, battery application, fuel cell application, or supercapacitor, or chemical or biological sensor field, and also dye sensor, solar cell. So today, I mainly talk about this hydrogen field and carbon dioxide reduction field and this dye sensor solar cell field. First time I'd like to talk about this graphene synthesis. So as you know, we have these two kind of category for the graphene synthesis. The first one is the bottom method, and the second one is the top-down method. Today, I mainly talk about this top-down method. The main is a chemical synthesis method with the oxidation method. For the characterization, so we need something special technique because this kind of material is nano size, and the nano material will require this TEM or HRTEM, AFM, sometimes STM and express element. That basically the XRD method. So this one is some something the simple preparation, chemical preparation method. The first time after the synthesis of graphite oxide with a modified human method, so maybe we can finally obtain the graphene family material. So for example, graphene family material is graphene or graphene oxide or reduced graphene oxide, and sometimes in this day, the graphitic carbon nitride in this day. And also at the time, this graphite oxide, if this one is heat treated or treated microwave with a microwave, treated with a sonication, so we can finally obtain this graphene material. So I suggest about something as a simple analysis result. As I said, basically, so maybe this XRD method and Raman method is also important for the analysis of graphene family. The first one is XRD result. So from this XRD result, you can see graphite fix or graphene fix and graphene oxide fix like that. So in this day, in case of graphite, maybe you will make so many kind of peaks, at least 12 more characteristic peaks with a high intensity. But in case of this graphene, so only can find these two kind of broad peaks. And also another one is graphene oxide. In the graphene oxide case, lead one case also can find this characteristic high intensity peaks like that. But this peak position is different among these three kind of sample. And the next one is Raman techniques. From the Raman techniques, we can be also obtain this Raman peaks. From this suggested fix, you can see D fix and G fix and 2D fix. Among this kind of three kind of samples, you can find the differences like that. Maybe main G peaks, D peaks and the G peaks is different. Intensity is different. So what is a D peaks and the G peaks? Maybe this one is also related to the symmetric properties like that. I will little more detail talk about this one. This one is related to the G peaks and D peaks, and this one is related to the G peaks like that. So maybe because you have this kind of symmetric motion, so maybe if any kind of graphene family materials have this kind of motion, so we can find the high intensity like that. So if any kind of graphene family materials have this kind of symmetric motion, so can find this kind of G peaks. And also these 2D peaks also relate to the layered structure. So as you know, as I suggested in here, so normally in the graphene cases can find these D peaks and G peaks, 2D peaks. In case of G peaks, so we can find this separated state like that. So if this part magnified to like that, so can find this separated main two kind of peaks. But this one is a normal one. It's no problem, normal one. So I gave a comment to everybody. And also after synthesis, this graphene material, so we need the graphene composite. So maybe, so in my opinion, graphene materials have something limitation for the higher application. So we require this graphene composite. For the synthesis of graphene composite, we need something modification with a graphene material, so with another metallic precursor material. For the synthesis of this graphene composite, we mainly use the hydrothermal method or ultrasonic method, like this microwave method. And in case of a microwave method, so I suggest about this small size microwave, but this one is no problem. But in our case, for the high intensity microwave, we mainly use this another commercial grade microwave chamber. And also finally, this for the self-assemble method. So for the high characterization or for the high properties, we need the nano size, nano particle or nano dot. But in the time, we mainly use this self-assemble method. But in the time, so for the this self-assembly treated method, so we mainly use this kind of surfactant materials with a metallic precursor. So I suggest about one kind of example. This one is our obtained composite materials. For the synthesis of graphene CDS nano composite, we mainly use this alkyl thiol and CD precursor like that with something another surfactant material together. If these two kind of precursor material mixed together, so with some kind of condition, so we can finally obtain this one. So in this day, then the main and the problem is porosity. So for the increasing of porosity, we mainly use this kind of modified method. But in the time, we also use the surfactant material with a graphene composite with another Si precursor. So because SiO2 have porous properties, we require porous SiO2 graphene semiconductor composite. Mainly today main topic is these three categories. The first one is hydrogen evolution. Second one is carbon dioxide reduction. The third one is dye-sensitized solar cell with a graphene semiconductor composite. Why we need hydrogen evolution? But in this day, in our society in Korea society, this air pollution is a very serious problem. And also according to this statistical data, so we can find this world consumption amount of hydrogen. This amount is increased and increased every day. And also, how can we make a hydrogen gas economically or ecologically, biologically, without any kind of environmental pollution and water pollution? So we want this kind of strategy. So for the obtaining of hydrogen, so we have so many kind of methods, from the fossil fuel or water splitting or biomethod. In case of first one, in the from the fossil fuel, so we need steam reforming or partial oxidation. And in case of water splitting, but in that time we require high power energy of electric power for the electrolysis. And also sometimes we need the thermochemical method. In case of a biomethod, this one also needed gasification. For the gasification, we need a specially designed instrument or manufacturing devices, and also needed a microbiome. But in that time, so it require the kinetic quick kinetic rate, but it have something problem. As I said, we need the energy efficiency technique, and also sometimes need the improvement of these devices. So we need the cost-effective or temperature condition, or as I said, so this kinetic problem. So because this kind of methods have this kind of problem, so I suggest about this our method. This is also one kind of example. For the obtaining of hydrogen from the sugarcane juice, in that time we need the special catalyst such as platinum or aluminum or platinum aluminum composite at the high temperature condition. And the second one from the glycerin. So this case also require a little bit expensive catalyst, ruthenium or yttrium oxide or ruthenium yttrium catalyst, and sometimes platinum or palladium catalyst at high temperature condition. But in case of hydrogen water splitting method, so we have something a little bit cheaper method or a little bit cheaper devices. For example, so I suggest about this solar cell with electrolysis, or sometimes photo electrochemical cell, and also final one is artificial photosynthesis with a photocatalyst. So in this day, in our group, we also suggest about this hydrogen evolution method with this solar cell or wind or hydrogen or nuclear. This case also require cost-effective properties. And also second one, so after the development of photocatalyst, we directly use this hydrogen evolution field with the sunlight. But this one is also one kind of economical, cost-effective method. And also we have another hydrothermal or hydrochemical recycle method, and also biological or bio-inspired method. But we mainly study about this kind of second method. The why we need the hydrogen evolution. So main target is a fuel cell. So as you know, for the obtaining of electrical power generation, so we need this electrochemical system. In case of a fuel cell, so we need the reductant fuel, but this reductant fuel is hydrogen. So but in the time, so we need the oxidant oxygen. If this one is also mixed together in this fuel cell devices, we can obtain this high power with this kind of reduction material. Reduction material is H2O. So because we can mainly use this fuel cell without any kind of air pollution or environmental pollution. So I designed this kind of theory in here. So as I said, this fuel cell will be make chemical energy to electrical energy like that. So in the time we basically need the hydrogen. So our main target is this hydrogen. This one is a hydrogen tank. This one is a fuel cell. So how can he design this fuel cell tank, or how can he storage this hydrogen in here? This one is also main point too. So I suggest about something benefit about this fuel cell with a hydrogen. So because it have a high efficiency or high power or high energy density. So I suggest about this kind of benefit. So as I said in the, so if you use the battery about the 1 kilogram battery during the 3 hours, so maybe in this case. In the fuel cell case, we just need 0.06 kilogram of fuel. So this one is a very cost effective. And also, as I suggested in here, we can find the high energy density with a high power like that. So yeah, we have something advantage about this the fuel cell system with a hydrogen, because this hydrogen is also clean and green energy. So we can obtain the high potential efficiency without any kind of moving part. And also this one is also, especially the working sound is very silent. And also we can make a large size scalable or transportable fuel cell. But it have a still have something problem. For the manufacturing of fuel cell is a little bit expensive. So we have, so as I said, we have this pure availability. How can we easily obtain this pure hydrogen? This one is also important. So this is also one kind of a mechanism. So as you know, this fuel cell is also conditioned with this kind of part. But in the time, so we can find this bipolar plate. So in our laboratory, we mainly study about this bipolar plate part. So this one is also directly related to the hydrogen decomposition or hydrogen reduction. And also in the time also need this catalyst study, but it's catalyst also a little bit expensive. So we require this kind of furthermore study. So this one is also one kind of suggested bipolar plate in our laboratory, and also after the make this bipolar plate, we mainly use this stainless steel frame like that. So after the supply to the hydrogen in here, we just check about the electrical performance with this kind of devices. This one is also one kind of design bipolar plate. So we have also many kind of types of bipolar plate. So we tested this bipolar plate like this kind of types. So after in the time, so as I said, this one is working at a high temperature. So, but in the time it have something problem in terms of separator and also electrolyte. So if this electrolyte easily decomposed at the high temperature condition, it will make something problem. And also, as I said, it have also catalyst problem. So maybe because this catalyst is really expensive, so how can he overcoming of this catalyst problem with a cheap one? So maybe this one is also important too. This is also one kind of working system like that. So after the design this bipolar plate at this box plate, we need this kind of separator, and also after combining this one also need the electrolyte with catalyst materials. So I suggest about this kind of mechanism in here like that. But in the time, basically we need this hydrogen for the working of this pure cell. So in our laboratory, we mainly study about this graphene composite. So after the synthesis of so many kinds of so many different types of composite graphene composite semiconductor, we just check about this material state with a TEM or HR TEM or ETX or XRD and any other method. And also finally, we check about this hydrogen evolution. But in the time, we also control the any other control factor with a sacrificial agent or without a sacrificial agent. So in the time, so we can find the hydrogen evolution effect. But this is also one kind of different example. This one is also standard TiO2 materials. So TiO2 is not normally not working in the visible light region. So maybe if you are intensify this visible light with a special method, so maybe we can find the working with this TiO2 material. But this one is our composite materials. From our composite materials, we can find the 2 times or 3 times more hydrogen evolution effect like that. So we suggest about this kind of. This one is another example. After the synthesis of a major process SiO2 copper oxide graphene, or after synthesis of a major process SiO2 tungsten selenide graphene TiO2, and also after synthesis of different types of graphene composite, we tested about this hydrogen evolution effect like that. So maybe most of our semiconductor materials have a high evolution effect. This one is basically heterojunction catalyst. So if we are used this heterojunction catalyst materials, we can find the high, little more higher catalytic effect than there of traditional catalyst. The second one is the carbon dioxide problem. So as you know, so as I said, so in this day, so many scientists are worried about this carbon dioxide emission like that. So most of our case, the carbon dioxide derived from the industrial working, and this one is about 30% motion, and another portion is 28%. This one is come from building operation, for example, steel making or concrete making, and another portion is road transportation. So as you know, for the road transportation, we need the combustion of fossil fuel, but in the time it will make us a lot of carbon dioxide. So why this carbon dioxide have something problem? So as I said, this one is derived from the burning of fossil fuel, but this after the make this carbon dioxide, this one is directly sprayed to the atmosphere, Earth's atmosphere. And also it will be make something problem. The main problem is this greenhouse effect. Maybe this Earth's atmosphere will be increased this temperature, so it will make a warming effect of Earth. So maybe from this kind of phenomena, we can find something different: air temperature, higher air temperature, or glacier problem, or wildfire problem, or sea level rising problem. So we can find so many kind of problems. So we suggest about this kind of reduction system. This one is also something traditional reduction system in our laboratory. So maybe this one is a laboratory scale. From this one, so we can also check about this CO2 reduction effect with this man-made CO2. After the CO2 gas dissolved in here, so we also require photocatalyst. This one is a graphene composite catalyst. So in that time, this one is decomposed or reduced with a light source. So we finally obtained the alcohol. So our main target is how can we easily obtain alcohol from the carbon dioxide reduction. And also this one is one of pyroscale upgraded apparatus. After the installation about this one or a little more large size, we installed this light source and heat sink. This light source and heat sink are automatically working in here. And also this system was similar to this traditional one. And also in the future, we'll make a strategy for the application of electrical power plant. In this day, in our country, for the obtaining of electrical power, we mainly use the coal burning. After the coal burning, so they obtain the steam, but maybe this steam will be working of turbine. But in that time, a lot of amount of NOx, SOx, and CO2 gas evolution. But after the collected this SOx and NOx CO2 gas, but in this day in our laboratory we also developed about this CO2 dissolution system. After the CO2 dissolution, so maybe so if this one is treated with a photocatalyst with this graphene composite, so we can also find what the final product alcohol. So this one is our first step and the second step and the third step. But in that time, we can check about this kind of reduction effect. So first, in the second step, we also obtained this ammonia gas from the NOx gas, and also this one is obtained alcohol from the CO2 gas. But mainly the SO3 gas is a problem. But it's a SO3, maybe this one is also will be captured by calcium carbonate or potassium carbonate with this kind of material. So we finally obtained this alcohol from this system. So for the CO2 hydrogen CO2 reduction, so we mainly use this kind of semiconductor. This one is one kind of different example. This is also silver selenide graphene TiO2 composite. After the synthesis, this one we also check about this alcohol production amount. But in the time, we also check about this on the visible light condition or UV light condition. And in this case also, check about the different condition with the scavenger effect. But in the time, if this one is also used, the scavenger, we have a little bit higher production effect. So I suggest about a little bit different result with a different sample. Maybe from this one is this scale is a little bit different. This scale is a little bit difficult to so visually a little bit difficult. So I suggest about this percent amount. Our main target is 15% more for alcohol yield. But in our case, nearly approach to our target. But this one is also 12% more alcohol production amount. And also among the some kind of catalyst materials, what kind of material have a high effective? So I suggest about this one. According to our study result, so in case of tungsten selenide graphene TiO2, or in case of vanadium oxide, bismuth oxide graphene zinc oxide, have a high yield like that. And also this one is also, as I said, we also check about this scavenger effect. Red one is without scavenger, and red one is with a scavenger effect. And also final one is dye-sensitive solar cell with a graphene semiconductor. So as you know, so first time I mainly talk about this air pollution problem or CO2 problem. So how can you overcome about this kind of problem? So so another strategy is this dye-sensitive solar cell. So because this one is also a little bit easy for the preparation of this one. So it also have something excellent performance, but we require a little more modification for the higher performance approach. So we mainly study about this hydrogen, the dye-sensitive solar cell. So as I said, so this one is also one of statistical data. So worldwide, so we can find the energy consumption amount like that. So you can see this increasing effect every year. So how can we make this dye-sensitive solar cell? So how can we commercialize this dye-sensitive solar cell? So our main target is like that in terms of electronic devices or automobiles and any other field. So as you know, this one is a sort of simple schematic diagram of dye-sensitive solar cell. This one is consists with a cathode part and anode part, or this TiO2 and dye material and electrolyte. The electrolyte in the iodine-based electrolyte. And also in case of dye material, so as you know, we mainly use the N719. But this one, from this one is what is the main problem? So so as I said, we need the cost-effective material. So because in this counter electrode, this one require PT electrode. But as you know, this PT is platinum is really expensive. So how can you replace with this PT material? So we mainly study about this graphene composite. After the synthesis of this kind of graphene composite, this one directly use this as an active material in this part. So we checked about this performance. This is also a simple preparation procedure for the dye-sensitive solar cell. The first one is we need the FTO glass or ITO glass. But ITO glass is a really expensive. But in this day, for the development of manufacturing of FTO, this one is a little bit cheap. So we mainly use this FTO glass. After the coating on the TiO2 on the FTO glass, so it require something require the electrolyte dispersion. And before the electrolyte dispersion, so one more time the coating with this graphene semiconductor composite. After the combining, this one also need the injection of electrolyte. But in the time, we can also make this both side electrode. So after the combining of these two electrodes, we also use the test for this performance. This one is also one kind of example. So as I said, so we also synthesize so many kind of different types of graphene composite for the performance test. But for example, mainly graphene composite with another porous material. This one is a zeolite. Sometimes you use the this as porous SiO2. without zeolite or SiO2, with zeolite or SiO2. So we also studied the case by case, with this kind of sample. So this one is also SEM or TEM result. And after the synthesis, this one we also basically need to check about this XRD or Nyquist plot, or also an isosome or DRS or Raman technique. So in this case, DRS also important. This result is also important. So as you know, if any kind of semiconductor or graphene composite materials have a small size band gap, this band gap energy directly related to the performance or any other catalytic result. So we basically need this kind of test. This one is also one kind of suggested result. So this one is also simple one. So in our case, we mainly synthesize this one. So what is the different types of this photocatalyst? So maybe many students or many participants ask about this one. So in this case, only one or two types of binary type. But how about this one? This case, 1, 2, 3 kind of ternary type. But in this ternary type case also, this one is 1, 2, 3 kind of ternary type semiconductor. So we also modified. We also looking for this kind of catalyst for the combining of graphene composite. Graphene material or any other matrix material. So we also study about this kind of field. So I suggest about something result like that. After the study about this one, so we take about this electrical performance result. In case of PT, this one, maybe this one has also about 7 point more power conversion efficiency. But in our case, so we mainly normally obtain this 12%. In this case, also have a highest performance result, 17 more percent. So as I said, for the approach of commercialization, at least we need the 20 more percent. But in this case, we still need some more modified or innovative catalyst material or synthesized or the modified devices system. Okay, so in our groups, we mainly study about this kind of study in Hangzhou University, and also another part is also study in the Anhui University of Science and Technology. For the application, industrial application, we have a partner company. This company name is electrochemical or Sama Condenser or research group or this KERI or KISET, and any other company group is Carbon Tech Limited or Young Company Limited. So after the study, we have a commercialized product like that. This one is one kind of large size air purifier. But in this day, in our society, because we have a serious problem about PM 2.5, so we basically need this kind of small size or large size air purifier system. This one is consist with 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of steps of filter system. In this second one, this one is require high surface area also want with a graphene composite because it have a catalytic effect. We mainly use this graphene composite in here. And also another one is this one is a prototype zinc air battery. This case also need anode material is zinc and the cathode material is graphene composite. So I suggest about this graphene composite in here. After make this kind of partition, this one is combined together like that. This one after model this one, so we can use this zinc air battery because this one also have some air pollution effect. So we also consider two application with this pure cell and the zinc air battery like that. And another one is this one is EDLC packaging. This case also mean the material is high surface area active carbon. This one require 3,000 more square meter per gram surface area, high surface area active carbon, and also this graphene composite used in here as a additive material. So after the make this coating film, this one need this kind of pouch type EDLC system. In our groups, we first time developed this kind of type in the world. So after the make this kind of pouch type, so maybe in my opinion, some kind of Japanese group and any other country groups failed about this kind of types of pouch types of EDLC. After the synthesis, this one, we also this one is the staking like that, staking and also packing, and we make this modularized model like product like that. This one is final product. This one is also mainly commercialized in carbon tech. This one is mainly commercialized electchem. This one is mainly commercialized Samha condenser. So we can find this kind of graphene study with a physical study and commercial product. Conclusion. So in our works, mainly verified something potential graphene as a support materials, semiconductor or any other porous material in terms of hydrogen evolution or CO2 reduction and electronic devices with any kind of air pollution related. And also it also highlights more generally the potential application of graphene-based materials in field of environmental protection and electrical or chemical or biological conversion. This one is also acknowledgement the further study about this kind of work. So maybe so many groups joined with our groups in the set group, Dr. Joe and AUST in the Professor Liu Yin, and sometimes Malaya University, in Malaya University, Dr. Shleishi, and Dr. Ik-jun Kim from KERIE, and Dr. Zhang from KAERIE. Everybody, thank you very much. Thank you for your kind attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Oh, for an insightful presentation. And Professor Oh had explained to us about the chemical preparation, characterization, and also application of graphene semiconductor composite for hydrogen evolution, carbon dioxide reduction, and DS solar cell. Thank you, Professor Oh.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the first presentation. Thank you very much, Professor Oh. And for the next presenter, we invite Dr. Kiki Adikurnia from Surabaya, Indonesia. Firstly, let me give short introduction about him. I'll share the screen, Professor Oh.
Oh, yes.
Excuse me. Okay, thank
okay.
you. our next speaker is Kiki Adi Kurnia, PhD. So Dr. Kiki has received his bachelor degree in chemistry at Institut Teknologi Bandung, Indonesia. Then he completed his master and doctor degree in chemical engineering at University Teknologi Petronas, Malaysia. And then actually he has received numerous awards, and these are some example. He was appointed as one of visiting researcher 2019 World Class University Program, and then he become as outstanding student chapter advisor 2018 from American Institute of Chemical Engineers. Also, he obtained Silver Award in Teaching and Learning Innovation 2018 from 5th International Innovative Practices in Higher Education Expo. He is also awarded as Best Lecturer Student Choice Award 2018 from Faculty of Engineering, University Teknologi Petronas. And then his research interests are in the field of designing and performing experimental and computational research to achieve international journal publications goal pre-arranged by the university, and delivering interactive lecture to increase student understanding in chemical sciences. Dr. Kiki, please present your topic in 90 minutes, and we will have about 15 minutes for question and answer session for Dr. Kiki and also for Professor O. And ladies and gentlemen, now allow me to welcome His Excellency Dr. Kiki. For Dr. Kiki, screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Maisara. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning to everyone. Let me share my screen. Kindly ignore this one. I'm working with something. Okay. My name is Kiki Adi Kurnia, has been introduced by Dr. Maisara. First of all, thank you to Professor Fatima for the invitation, and also thank you to Department of Chemistry, Universitas Islam Indonesia. Okay, my name is Kiki Adi Kurnia. Currently, I'm attached to Universitas Airlangga in Surabaya, Indonesia. My research focus on computational chemistry. So my work heavily rely on computational method like Gaussian, MD, and some others, including DFT. So today I would like to share my experience on writing article for publication. So I have received several articles from Professor Fatima to be reviewed, and based on my experience and based on the article, when I read the article, usually I like something that provocative. For example, we are no longer just mention synthesis and characterization, but it will be better if we use something. For example, we want to highlight, maybe we can put the word improve extraction or improve synthesis of catalyst or something like that, rather than just simple for the characterization. Some mistake in the I observed from the article is that many of the author, they use very uncommon abbreviation on the title. So my suggestion is that please do not use any abbreviation. And last and most importantly, whenever you want to write any article, you must read the rule and regulation on the intended journal for the publication. Why? Some publication, they have different criteria. For example, when you want to write for Journal of Chemical and Engineering Data, From the name itself, the journal focus on data. So you need to highlight that your focus, your contribution is to enrich the data bank of chemical compound or something like that. But if you want to submit to new journal of chemistry, new journal of chemistry mostly highlight the molecular level behind the interaction, behind the data itself. So it will be better to read the guideline of the journal before submitting or before writing the title for your article. For example, here I took example from Journal of Chemical and Engineering Data. This is the sample of very straightforward title. The author really used the vapor liquid equilibria as mentioned in the title and diffusion coefficient. So it is very straightforward. So most of the data, the article contain only FLE and diffusion coefficient. Please take note that the author, in this case, they did not abbreviate FLE, but they write down is the full name vapor liquid equilibria, even though FLE is already common. But this one is to avoid misunderstanding. Perhaps that is the meaning of FLE. So my suggestion, whenever you write title of the article, make sure you write down the full name instead of the abbreviation. And then these two are two good examples of the title for the journal. If you notice from here, the author simply put an efficient, meaning to say the author proposed new method that which is efficient for room temperature liquefied petroleum gas sensor. It is not just room temperature liquefied, but it is more into efficient. Meaning to say, the previous method is not as efficient as what the author want to propose. Thus, this contribution of this article is to provide more efficient gas sensor. Another example, in this second example, the author put the word highly selective, not just hydrogenation. So when people read this article, the main contribution, the main novelty of this article is on the highly selective. So it is not just hydrogenation of halogenated nitroarenes, but most on highly selective. So meaning the catalyst the author prepare has property that is highly selective for hydrogenation of halogenated nitroarene, so on. Now, after we have the title, the next step is writing abstracts. Once again, most of the abstract, it is like just simply write down the abstract to be put there. I do not find any extra something like, for me, abstract is the windows to the article. When you write down abstract, it must be reflected on the content of your article. So for example, on the abstract, it will be better if you put some motivation of the works, what is the method and result. This is the most important. What make you did your own research? You cannot just suddenly mention in this work you synthesis blah blah blah. You need to find out, you need to explain, you need to describe what is the importance of the catalyst you want to synthesis. Let's say if the current catalyst they have low selectivity, that's why you want to overcome with the synthesis of high selectivity catalyst. If the current catalyst is very expensive, maybe you want to propose something more economical catalyst. And then you have to follow with method. Remember, in the abstract, it's just to give you some taste of your article. You no need, it is not necessary for you to describe all the method in detail. What you can do, just put small, simple description how you did your experiment. And most importantly, you need to give some conclusion in the end of your result. It is not just like experimental result, but what is the novelty or the contribution. For example, this article clearly states that the direct pathway was proved to be dominant in catalyzing the intermediate. So from the start to the end, we can see clearly what is the motivation of the research followed by the method, and most importantly, what is contribution given by the author in the term of catalyst. Another example, here we are given the method in the first line. Here the author describes a computational methodology for designing ionic liquid, meaning to say the author rely heavily on the computational methodology for what? This is to design enhanced water absorption capacity. So the author really highlight that what they are trying to do is to synthesize new ionic liquid, to prepare new ionic liquid with enhanced water absorption capacity, not just necessary ionic liquid with water absorption capacity, but they are looking for enhanced ionic liquid. So what is the result? By employing this strategy, the author identified 3 novel ionic liquid, meaning to say this is the contribution or the novelty of the research toward the field of ionic liquid. So you have to keep in your mind, if you want to contribute in high impact journal, you really need to show off what is the contribution of your own research. That's why before you write down your article, it will be better to do some literature review. So you know where is your position, what you have been doing, what other people did before, and this is your idea. So for example, you want to have something new ionic liquid with superior, enhanced, improved, whatever it is. You do not want ionic liquid that have simple ability to absorb water. You want to prepare something stand out. So it is necessary for you to highlight the finding, the novelty, the contribution of your research in your article. So after say all of this, I really suggest do not write abstract for granted. I know abstract is requirement. That's why most people just write abstract just to be put in the front of the page. You should not do that. You really need to put some soul into your abstract, because people will read the abstract before they reading through another part of your article. If you could not impress people from the abstract, usually people will just leave your article. So the first thing you need to do, make sure you have standout abstract. How to make a standout abstract? You need to see what is contribution of your research, what is novelty of your research, is your research contribute to new development, or what? Because we need to have a reason to publish the article. If you want to publish the article, of course, in high impact journal. Then another not mistake, another something that can be improved from the article that I review is on how you presenting your data, because it doesn't matter how good your data, if you cannot presenting your data on the paper, it will be difficult for the reader to understand. So if you have a lot of the data, then you need to digest it. You need to make the reader understand what message you want to convey through your writing. You cannot just put your data there without any explanation, without any clarification or whatsoever. So some of the mistake, you need to make a good graphic. It doesn't mean the graphic must be pretty. The most important is that you need to prepare graphic that can be easily understood by the reader. For example, I have two of the graphic. One is quite pretty, the other one just simple graph. Most people, in the first instance, they will see, oh, this one's very nice graphic. But then it is quite difficult to understand. On the second one, it just so graphic, but it is easy to digest. For example, you can see from here, who get the highest payment? What is the range of the salary in this job category? And then what is the annual salary? Another thing to be considered, for example, if your data contain a lot of zero, you can simply put it down in the caption, salary in thousands of dollars. So not necessary for you to put the value 145,000, 165,000, so on and so forth. It doesn't look nice. So the idea here, you need to present some graphic that can be easily understood by your reader. Not necessary to make pretty. Pretty graph, fine, but still, the main goal is to make graph that easily understood by the reader. Another thing is that so many of you like to put so many zero. For example, like what is the importance of 2-digit after decimal? Is it really affect your data or not? Or can you simplify the data from 7.09 to just 7%? Is there any significant if one data is 7.09 and the other one is 7.08? If the data is not that significant, what you can do, you can just simply throw out the decimal. Focus on the main value. Unless, of course, if you think that if 17009 is significant and different compared to 7.08, then you can put in 2 decimal. But then if the value is not that really important after decimal, it is not necessary for you to write down all the value after decimal. Another thing to be considered, especially when you write down the article in proceeding, many of the data is given on centralized. So meaning all of the data is in the center. It is difficult to read by the reader. Why? It is different to identify whether you want which one is the highest value, which one is the lowest value, if the value is not right in the right side like this one, if you put in the center. So make sure this is how the way you deliver or you presenting your data. So make sure your data is easy to be read by your reader. If you think your data is not necessary to be presented in 2 decimal or 3 decimal, then cut it off without any decimal, unless if you think it is have significant effect. For example, the difference between 7.09 and 7.08. But if that is not that significant, cut it off, throw away the value after decimal. Another thing is that when you use Excel, the default on Excel, usually they have border. You can simply remove the border. How to remove the border? You just simply right click, no line for the border, because it doesn't looks good. Another thing is that instead of having some caption legend like this, it will be better for you to put the caption instead like this, you put in the y-axis. It looks nicer when you put it in down as the x-axis. So it is the methods of how you presenting your data. And then again, when you have the value with lot of zero, it is better to cut it off in the unit, and then in the caption you just put that the value are in thousand instead of you writing down all the value, because all of the 0000, it is doesn't have much meaning. So what you can do, put all this zero as the unit, then you can simply put as 50, but the unit is thousand. So by doing this, it will be easy for the reader to digest your message rather than for them to see a lot of zero. Okay. Another thing to be considered when you prepare the graph using Excel, make sure to remove the unnecessary legend. If possible, do not write down any legends in your graph. Remove all of the legend before you presenting your data in the manuscript. And then if, for example, like this, you also need to consider, is it necessary for you to have all of the grid lines? If it is, make sure these grid lines do not overshadow your actual data. Meaning to say, you need to play around with the uh, just to make sure the grid lines do not do not overshadow the data you want to present to the reader. So this is just the methods of practice. I will show you later on. For example, here, I will stop share for a while. I will show you some of the data. So for example, from here, when I prepare the graph, I prepare the graph in high quality, in high resolution. So if you notice from here, when I prepare the graph, the size is quite big. This one is in the size of A4 paper. Why I do that? Because later on, if you prepare the graph in low quality size and you put in the manuscript, the message or the picture will not be seen clearly. So make sure you prepare the graph in high quality, in high resolution. Some of you may question why I need to do this. This is wasting my time. This is not wasting your time. This is how to increase the visibility of your result. Because if you have a lot of result, but you cannot present it in good way, then it is also pointless. So my suggestion is for you to prepare the graph in high quality. And if you notice from here, when I have this graph, before I put it in the manuscript, and then I will clear all of the caption, legend, everything. So all of this will be only in my Excel file. But when I transfer into the body of the script, all of the caption, legend will be put in the caption of the article. Meaning to say, make sure to delete this part before you transfer it to the body of the article. So actually, if you see from here, the size of this figure is quite big. So whenever in the production, they change the size and everything, as long as smaller than A4 size, the quality will be still maintained. That is the reason whenever you prepare the graph, make sure you prepare in high quality or high resolution. For me, I usually prepare the template for the Excel, just put the data that will be simple like that. So back to the slide over here. So whenever you prepare the slide, make sure the graph is easily to be understood by the reader. You need to play around how to make sure your data can be digested easily by your reader. Okay. Another thing is that never ever put other people result in your result and discussion section. You can refer to other people works, but you cannot present other people data in your result and discussion. So for example, you cannot have some SEM or infrared spectrum of other people in your result and discussion. What you can do is you can only refer site to their works, but you cannot put their original spectra or spectrum in your paper. First, you need to get the authorship. You need to get permission from the original author. It will take long of time. So make sure in the result and discussion, put the data that coming from your own research, not any other people research. So when I read the article to be reviewed, some of you just put the data, here is my data, without proper explanation. Again, you cannot do that. You need to find out what is happening with your data. So for example, like this, when I did some modeling, and then I need to compare with the experimental data. What I see from here, this is my modeling in the line. All of the line is modeling, while the symbol coming from experimental data. So you can see from here, some model are good, some model are not good. So what you need to do in the first step, you need to validate your data by comparing your data with literature. This is very crucial, especially if you are beginners. Even until this day, I'm still comparing my own data with the data from literature. How if the data from literature is different from our system? If that's so, then what you need to do, you need to repeat some experimental coming from the previous researcher. Do the simple thing, compare whether you can achieve what they can achieve or not. Another thing is that when you have the data, so the first step, you saw the data. When you saw the data, then you have to come with the explanation. If you cannot explain, then you need to find literature to support your statement. If your data is in agreement with other literature, then it is good. Is there any other, for example, here we find out that the trend of the anion similar with sulfatochromic parameter. So what does it mean? Is there any correlation between sulfatochromic and the interaction with water? Indeed, it is. So you need to correlate your result with the current theory. So the last thing, you need also to put your own opinion. So whenever you write down the result and discussion, first, present your result. Second, explain your result. Whenever you explain your result, try to find literature to support your statement. You cannot just mention, oh, this one similar with sulfatochromic parameter without citing the sulfatochromic paper. So, first step, presenting your result. Second, find literature to support your result. And third, what can you conclude from your result? Most of the paper I review just simply put the figure of SEM, infrared, without giving proper explanation what they can conclude from the SEM or what they can conclude from the IR. You cannot do that. You need to put 1 line or 2 line explanation on what you can conclude from your figure. What happens if your data is not in agreement with the literature? First rule, do not blame the previous author. When you blame other people, and if that happens to be your reviewer, I'm sure your article will get rejected immediately. So whenever you see the data, your data is different from literature, you need to read again the data from literature. Is the experimental procedure all the same, or is it different, or using different method, or using different chemical, or find something that different? So maybe you can mention, for example, over here, I mentioned more on this data on the system are required to establish the reason behind this particular trend. Meaning to say, because the data on the coming from 2 research group, so we cannot establish any conclusion. By saying that, none of this research group will get offended. But if you mention that one research group data is very bad compared to us, cannot do that because we are afraid if that person will be the reviewer for your article, and if that person read your article. The same thing, what happened if someone cite your article but in the bad thing, mentioning that actually your result is all wrong. So to avoid like that, make sure never ever blame the previous author. Okay, the final thought, writing is difficult. Yes, especially if you are targeting for Q1 paper. So many rules, so many regulations, so many things to do. But even though it is difficult, it doesn't mean that you cannot do the writing. What you can do, simple. Follow the rule and regulation, highlight what is your novelty, contribution. For me, when I start writing, I start from journal that okay, not that very bad, but I keep challenging myself to improve. Okay, if I can go for this journal, after this, I will go for another journal with more impact, something like that. But whenever you start, just remember to keep writing. And then whenever you get feedback from reviewer, do not feel offended. Once I got, let's say, about 6 pages or 7 pages comment from reviewer, so many things. Even the reviewer comment on the layout of the paper, on the figure, something like that. But that's the games. So you just need to follow what is the comment from reviewer, then answer to them politely. If you can do that, then answer. If they ask for extra experiment, if you can do it, maybe you can answer you will need more time, or if you cannot do it, especially now during the pandemic, they can you mention your lab is closed, so you cannot fulfill the suggestion or the feedback from the reviewer. The idea here, whenever you get the review from the reviewer, make sure to not get disappointed. Rejection is our daily life, especially for researcher. I have been rejected so many times, but every time I get rejected, then it is opportunity to submit it to different journal. Sometimes some journal in Q2 reject your article, but then you can submit it to Q1 after some modification, after you take into account what is the comment from the reviewer. So my suggestion on this is that you start with something small, keep increasing until you get used to writing the article. By the time you get used to writing the article, believe me, everything will be easy. Writing article will become something addiction for you as long as you keep writing. So last but not least, for those who want to collaborate, I welcome. My research mostly on the computational chemistry, try to understand the interaction between solute and solvent. And if you want to collaborate, you can contact me through my email address in Gmail or in my official email address or also to my mobile number. I think that's all from me. I return back the screen to the moderator.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Kiki, for your nice presentation. Now we are going to start Q&A session. I have summarized the question from our participant. The first question maybe for Professor Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there is a question for you from Zulkarnain Jalil from Universitas Syah Kuala Banda Aceh. Are there any information concerning the suitable storage for the hydrogen for automotive application?
Yeah.
Please, Prof.
Okay, so maybe in this day in our society, we also study about this storage method because we have something problem about this storage. So in commercialized vehicle case in this day, we mainly use the hydrogen tank type hydrogen for the storage tank type. Most of our cases imported from Japan. But we mainly study about this carbon composite type tank bomb type. This one and the second one. So we also study about this what kind of a material. What kind of a material is easily hydrogen storage. So we also study this one. So we mainly study about this hydrogen storage, such as graphite intercalation compound or porous material. In case of porous material, it's not a simple one, composite type. For example, high surface area active carbon and major porous carbon composite, like this one. Sorry. So okay. So in our society, we mainly use this storage tank in case of commercialized vehicle, fuel cell vehicle. So this one is one kind of steel 3-layer or 4-layer few layers the steel type tanker. Or second one is composite type tank. Composite type is this tank is also bomb type tanker. In case of commercialized vehicle in Korea, so commercialized is also composite type is also require carbon composite or polymer carbon fiber composite, this kind of type. In this day, most of our storage tank imported from Japan, but in our group also study about this one composite type. Okay.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Prof. And for the next question is from Jahid Hossein from Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology. How we made bipolar plate? Because
yes,
fuel cell.
Yeah.
Explain about it.
Okay, so this is a good question. We have so many kind of bipolar plate. So the first one is it also require high electrical conductivity, but because it require electrical conductivity, so maybe ceramic phase the bipolar plate is not good. So formally we study about this bipolar plate with a ceramic based material. But in this day we mainly use the graphite based graphite block. After make a graphite block, it require designing like a last bipolar plate. This one, and also because as I said, because it require high temperature condition. So we mainly another one is mainly use the composite type, cis composite type.
Okay, thank you, Prof. And maybe for the last question is from me. Could you please explain to us about what current topic, Prof, that can be developed, and please give us some advices to our article so it has a big chance to be accepted in Korean Journal of Material Research.
Yes, okay. Okay, so maybe in the former time, Dr. Kiki detailedly explain about this preparation method. So I want to some more comment, give a comment to everybody audience. The first time is in my case, every day 100 more people reviewed from the this review process. So I felt this kind of point. The first one is what is a new technology? The first one is a new technology, and the second one is the how can you handle the new material, and also third one is what is the advanced point? And first is what is the progressive point? Progress point is a new point, advanced point, similar to this kind of point. And also second, now fifth one is so we need the consistent description with the former data or rare data or another data. So this kind of theory or this kind of obtained data or this kind of result or this kind of discussion point have to have this consistency. So this one is also very important. And also sometimes we require good visual data. Little bit visual data is a little bit complex. So maybe this reader is also a little bit tired. So we need the good visual data. Sometimes colorful, sometimes the good handled data. And also another case, so anybody ask about this English problem. So maybe so in our case also too, because my case, because I am also not a mother language or mother language, so sometimes can find the English mistake and the grammatical mistake. But in our case, we mainly use the English revision by expert or native speaker or editing company. It basically need this kind of work. And also another one is in the submission system, so we require reviewer recommendation. In this reviewer recommendation, we require favorable recommendation of favorable reviewer. Who is favorable to our group? This one is important. So maybe and also final one is finally. So maybe after a few review, most of our case, most of our manuscript screened. But if any kind of manuscript progress the review, maybe they will be take a review comment. But in the time, so how can you make this review comment answer? This one is also very important. So maybe the first one is this review answer have to make favorably, and also most of our cases have to describe about method in detail. This kind of points are very important.
Okay, thank you, Professor Oh, for your
You're welcome.
explanation. And for the next question is for Dr. Kiki. This question is from Zulkarnain Jalil from Universitas Syah Kuala, Banda Aceh. Are there any tips or strategy for writing the manuscript into English language, since the common problem for us mostly in the language? Please, Dr. Kiki.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Tips, we have a lot of tips. Shortcut, no shortcut. First time I write in English. So my professor Joao Coutinho give me the comic books Asterix. So he asked me to read the comics, and he said that, see, when you read this comic, the word is very simple. It contains subject and predicate and the verb and some object. So when you write down in English, make sure you write in simple statement. Now I noticed that many Indonesians like to write in very complex paragraph. Usually when they have blah 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 which and then expand again by which, so it contains like 5 or 6 lines. So my suggestion is try to learn English grammar. Yes, it may take some time, but nowadays it's a lot of tool to help learning English grammar. For example, you can use Duolingo. It just require 10 to 15 minutes a day. That's very simple. Or whenever you write, always try to write in the simple line, simple paragraph. Try not to complicate your writing. You can also start writing in Bahasa Indonesia, but be careful when you translate it using Google Translator or some others to English. Why? Because sometimes the translation is not correct. For example, if you translate Kota Malang, Malang City, using Google Translate, it will change into unfortunate city. Actually, it's Kota Malang. It is not unfortunate city. Some others word also not suitable using Google Translate. So if you still use Google Translate, make sure to reread again the word that has been translated from Bahasa Indonesia to English. Or I really suggest start to learn some English grammar. If you say you don't have time, you will have time for do that. Then once you master the English grammar, you can also use other tool. For example, you can use a pro writing app or Grammarly. Try to have the original version, because when you have the one from Shopee or Tokopedia, the one that just 100,000, it doesn't really help you because it doesn't have any correction tool. But when you have the original software for Grammarly or Pro Writing Ad, it really helps you find out your mistake in writing. And it also can give you some alternative on your writing. So to summary, my feedback, try to learn some grammar. If you have no time, you can use Duolingo. If you still need use assistant to help, you can use Grammarly or Pro Writing Ad, something like that.
Okay, thank you for Dr. Kiki to explain us about tips or strategy in writing the manuscript in English. And maybe for the next question is from me, Doctor. The question from me is how to avoid the repetition of the sentence in abstract and conclusion, because we know that in abstract and conclusion, we have to summarize the main points of our result.
Okay. Usually, in the abstract, it is only a bit taste of your body of article. So for example, you in the abstract, you only highlight your main finding. So you no need necessary to explain all of your finding because it will be write down in the result and discussion chapter. So in the abstract, only highlight your main finding. In the conclusion, what you can write down may be similar, but not exactly the same. So maybe you can add with some additional explanation. So for example, in the abstract, you write down you have successfully synthesis catalyst. In the conclusion, you can start based on the spectrum IR and NMR. The product has been confirmed to be successfully synthesized. So even though the meaning are the same, but the way you deliver the statement are quite different. In conclusion, you put some evidence to support your finding, but in the abstract, you write down directly your main finding, your main discovery. I hope it help you to answer the question.
Yes, thank you very much,
You're
Dr.
welcome.
Kiki, for the answer. I think that's all for the question. Maybe this participant, is there any question? You can raise your hand, maybe. Please. Another question? Any question? Okay, I think that's all for the question. We can end up this question and answer session. Thank you very much once again for Professor O and Dr. Kiki for answering those questions and for the great presentations. Thank you. It was
Thank
a
you very
pleasure
much.
to have you
You
with
are
us.
welcome.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, may we thank you for your active participation in this workshop. We hope you have learned and enjoyed this program. We wish you all a pleasant day. Now I'll give back the screen to Professor Isfatimah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, Bu Maisari, for nice moderating the session. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, by the main agenda, we have finished the workshop session. So we will end this event for today. But for the participant with the manuscript, we will open the clinic session on 12:30. For registered participants, the certificate can be downloaded from this link. I will give the link on the chat room. Then for participant with manuscript for clinic, we will start the clinic on 12:30 with Dr. Kiki Adikurnia. Okay, once again, thank you very much for all participants, speakers, Prof. Won Jun Oh and Dr. Kiki Adikurnia for very nice sharing. On behalf of Chemistry Department, Universitas Islam Indonesia, once again, thank you for joining this event. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and we'll open the meeting room.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.